Hey guys, since we haven't had time to review vocabulary in class, I wanted to try something. So I'm going to review week 6 vocabulary strategies, tones, and terms with you through this screencast, and I welcome your feedback once you take a look to let me know if you think it would be helpful for future weeks. So this is what it's going to look like. So the strategies that you have for this week start with syllogism. A syllogism is essentially taking a general statement or a premise and then a more specific statement or premise and drawing a conclusion. So if you take a look at the examples, the major premise in general is that all human beings are mortal. Okay. The minor premise, the one that's more specific, is that Socrates was a human being. Okay, well then Socrates is mortal. I like the second one a little bit better, the idea that all Olympic runners are fast. Okay, well, what's that specifically? Well, Usain Bolt is an Olympic runner, so therefore Usain Bolt is fast. So if you take a look at the syllogism format, it's just to draw conclusions based upon something that you've observed generally and then something you've observed specifically and drawing a conclusion from that. To many of you, this will remind you of induction and deduction that we talked about a few weeks ago, but I do think that there's something to be said as far as the general premise and then the minor premise. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes syllogism structure works, but sometimes it's faulty. So take a look at this penguin cartoon. As you know, penguins are not old TV shows, so you have to be very careful with syllogism logic because it's just not always accurate. The next term is aphorism. Aphorisms are actually accredited to Ben Franklin, which is a fun fact for trivia in the future. But an aphorism is just an older saying that contains a general truth. Sometimes these are cliches at this point because they're overused. But I like this image because no pain, no gain is something that we hear all the time with athletics and stuff like that. Better safe than sorry. I'm sure you've said that, or maybe a parent has said that to you. So an aphorism is just like an old saying that has some truth to it, but may not be 100% true all the time. And then, of course, we have SOAPST, which you know stands for speaker, occasion, audience, purpose, the subject, significance, and then the tone. I gave you an image of actual soapstone because it is a type of stone. But SOAPST is really important to have memorized because it'll lead you through a rhetorical analysis essay and help you sort of understand the rhetorical situation as far as why is this person writing or talking, what are they talking about, who are they talking to, and why do they have to talk about this right now? Which really is the most important part, is that significance part. Why is this important? Why are we talking about this? Why should we be talking about it? Then your last strategy is visual rhetoric, which we talked about quite a few weeks ago. So, it's the use of visual techniques to convey an argument. I really like this image with the baby and logos and how we materialize lots of different things to kids at an early age and try to make them into a commodity. All right, so now we're into tones. So this week you only had 5 different tones to look at. The first one is derisive. When you are derisive, you're ridiculing or scorning something just to show your contempt towards that person or topic. So if you intentionally put down something that isn't that bad, you're putting it down because you personally don't like it, then you have a derisive tone. The best example of this is Regina George from Mean Girls. She is very derisive towards people just because she doesn't like that person or that topic or that thing. The next tone is bantering. Bantering is sort of like a platonic flirting. It's, you're having a conversation with someone, joking back and forth, you're being very witty or teasing, and the conversation is flowing really casually and easily. The next one is eccentric, and I really like this picture of this grandma because she does not look like your stereotypical grandma, and that's exactly what eccentric means. If you are an eccentric, you are deviating from the established norm, and you're doing things your own way instead of how other people expect you to do them. The next word is patronizing, and to me the most patronizing character on television is Carlton from The Fresh Prince because he believes that he is more intelligent and better than other people in his family. And so anyone who's looking down on another person believing that they are better, they are patronizing. if you are mirthful, then you are full of laughter and you're just all around jolly. I like this picture of baby Jake because whenever we put him on the swing, he is always quite mirthful, just giggling and having a good time. Now we're going to end with two terms. The first term is a test, and this is to show or to demonstrate. So if you are in court, you might have to attest to certain facts, or that you were at a scene or you saw something. And part of that being able to attest to something is to demonstrate that you were there. So you might have evidence, or you might be able to recreate the scene. And then the last word is extrapolate. Extrapolate is a really great word to know for the SATs. But to extrapolate essentially means that you can draw conclusions based upon the information provided to you. So as teachers, I'll look at test scores and I'll go through and see what questions students struggled with the most, and then from there determine what I need to teach next or what I need to review to help my students who are struggling. And so I've made those inferences based upon the information provided to me by those tests. So that's all of our vocab for week 6. I'm happy to make these short videos. This is about 6.5 minutes once it's all said and done. So if you like this video, you would think it would be helpful to have these videos for the future to review vocabulary. Please let me know, and I'll store this on Google Classroom.